Hi, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. So this video is going to be pretty long, so I just kind of want to jump right into it. It's exactly what the title says. It's why I decided to give up alcohol at 24 years old. For those of you that don't know, I have been alcohol-free for the past year. My year mark is actually September 4th, and I'm gonna continue on with that. It's a whole new lifestyle, but I kind of wanted to just share my story and see if it maybe would help inspire somebody else. So, let's get right into it. So growing up, my family was never, huge boozers. My mom would have, wine, and my dad would have, I've never seen him have more than 2 beers, but, they weren't alcoholics. But growing up, I was also really attracted to, the badass side of life, the pink ladies and the T-birds, and I still am. I still think that's cool, but with that comes alcohol and cigarettes. So, when I was 13 years old, I got drunk for the first time, on accident, actually, in Mexico. I had pretty big boobs for a 13-year-old, so they were serving me real margaritas, which I later found out when I was throwing up purple. It was bad. It was gross, and I never wanted to feel that way again. Little did I know I would be feeling that way for at least the next, God knows how long. So when I was 15, I met this girl who was known as a big drinker, and she always had alcohol, and, I was already attracted to alcohol as a thing, and I wanted to drink, so we started hanging out, and she started supplying me with alcohol. And for a while it was fun, we were just teenagers doing their things. At the time, I was working at a retail store, and I, knew a lot of older people through that, and they would always tell me, oh, you act so much older than you are, come party with us, whatever. So, I would go to parties with them, I'd go to their houses, and, we'd get drunk, whatever. I just thought it was normal. I thought I was, cool. I thought I was, a pink lady, whatever. So, basically, all throughout high school, I was drinking. I found it one way or another, it wasn't very hard. And I thought I was doing it to have fun. I thought it was fun. I thought it was normal. I thought that's what kids do. I didn't think it was anything serious. I didn't think it was a problem. When I graduated high school, I ran away from home, and I didn't go to college. I ran away from home in an abusive relationship that is a story for another time, but nothing good happened when I ran away. I drank a lot more then, too. I started experimenting with other drugs then, too, and it was just bad. It was not good. I was not being productive to society at all there. Luckily, I got out of it when I was 19 fully. I got out of it. And by got out of it, I mean I got out of that relationship. But I was still drinking. I wasn't using drugs at this point when I came home, though. So, from 19 to 21... when I came back home, I started working at a bar, and I already had a relationship with alcohol and whatever, so I obviously thought drinking was normal, and working at a bar, I would see the same people coming in every day, they were regular, so I was just oh, this is what people do. It's like Cheers. No. Cheers was, cute, kind of, and, classy, I think, but, this was just, a hot mess of just drunk, sad people. No shade, no tea. Now, since I already had, such a strong relationship with alcohol, obviously working at a bar was not good for me. I was already using alcohol to cope with everything. I was using it as a blanket. I wasn't using it to have fun. I don't know what the purpose of alcohol is, but I was at a point where I was drinking, and if we were drinking and I wasn't getting drunk, then what's the point of even drinking? I was drinking to get drunk. And then in June of 2013, I turned 21, and 2 weeks after my 21st birthday, something happened that I'm not going to talk about, and I don't want to selfishly say it's the reason I was in a dark downward spiral, but that's that. So this happened, and I quit my job at the bar, and I became a nanny. My life became a routine of wake up, get ready, go to work, go to the bar, go home, sleep, repeat. I was not doing anything productive. I was not leading a productive lifestyle. I was not fulfilling my life. I was drinking all the time to mask the way I was feeling. But I played it off as the excuse of, I'm young, I'm in my 20s, and people drink. This is what we do in our 20s. You keep doing that and you keep believing it for long enough, it's going to become a problem. You're going to lose yourself. I drank and drank and drank, and I became a really ugly version of myself. And I accepted bad treatment because I hated myself so much and for so long. In May of 2015, I started seeing this guy that I knew from the bar scene, and in the beginning of our relationship, I was very hesitant. I didn't want a relationship because I was so broken. And I just didn't want to depend on somebody. I didn't want to rely on somebody. But he convinced me that I could depend on him and I could rely on him. And eventually I caved in and we dated. But at this point in my life, I already hated myself so much and I was already so depressed that I was accepting whatever love I could get. You know? And that's sad to say, but it's true. But I fell in love with this guy, and I fell in love to the point where I was ready, prepared to give up everything that I have ever dreamed for and hoped for him, and to become a suburban wife with him. And I'm not crazy for thinking that, because he called me wifey, and I called him hubby, for the majority of our relationship until the end. So I'm not crazy for thinking that would happen, I don't think. I was willing to give up everything for this guy, and it got bad. And I know exactly when it got bad, and it started getting bad when I started gaining weight, and he started finding me unattractive, and I knew this, so I was drinking more to mask that feeling, to cover that, but hiding it with the, I like to have fun, and it just was a domino effect of, I don't feel loved, I don't love myself, so I'm going to drink to pretend that I'm okay. So it got to a point where he was ditching me, ditching our plans, lying to my face. He refunded my birthday present, and I stayed with him, and he would ignore me for days at a time, and it was bad. It's not what I deserved, but for some reason in my dumb brain, I thought that I was the bad person in this. So eventually we broke up, and I remember the night we broke up. We had plans to hang out that day, but he was ignoring me all day, and so I tracked him down. And he told everybody I'm crazy, but okay, yes, I'm crazy because I'm a genius and geniuses are crazy, but also it's not my fault. You go to the same 2 bars in town and you're already making your girlfriend of a year feel some type of way. So when I got there, he was in his car or whatever, and he didn't even have the respect for me to get out of his car and have a conversation with me, his girlfriend of over a year, about this issue that we had at hand. He didn't care about me enough. He was selfish, and he is selfish, and that's him. That's his own issues he has to deal with, and I'm not the one putting up with them anymore. But basically, I remember I walked away from him and I said, do better. I said do better. I think subconsciously I meant that for myself. I want to mention, a month before we broke up, though, I did start going to a therapist who was a Christian therapist, because I am a Christian, and she helped me a lot with everything. So from July 2016 up until actually August 2017, I was seeing her, and she helped me tremendously. I recommend therapy for everybody. So we broke up, and then there was that 3-week span. And in those 3 weeks, a friend of mine, who I use that term loosely because at the time of their death, I was unassociating myself with them because I didn't like the path that they were going down. Unfortunately, they passed away, and it was speculated that they were drunk or drinking in the day earlier before the accident. There was never an autopsy done, so the truth behind it is unknown. So my parents sat me down and had a conversation with me, and they were like, Jen, why are you drinking so much? And I just kind of put up a wall and was like, I'm 20, like, this is what we do, we drink, like, we party, like, it's not a big deal. I was pretending it wasn't a big deal because I didn't really think it was that big of a deal yet. Until I was later on in therapy and I realized it was a big deal. So, all these 3 things happened in a 3-week span, and basically I lost somebody that I really truly loved, or thought I loved, I don't know to this day. That friend passed away and my parents noticed that I had a problem. I believe God put these things happening in a row just so I would really open my eyes, which actually happened. I remember I was sitting at TGI Fridays with my friend, and that's when I decided that I was going to quit drinking until Halloween because I wanted to lose some weight and make my ex want me again. I wanted him to love me again because I needed that. For some reason I needed that. And so I quit drinking right then and there, September 4th. I was hungover as hell, but whatever. And 2 days after that, my best friend, who doesn't live in the same state, like, we were calling each other and FaceTiming all the time, but she was going through a hard time. And eventually we printed out these habit trackers to make ourselves feel good, and, like, we were doing yoga every day, drinking water every day, just, like, doing things that would make our bodies feel good so our mental set would be good too. So our mental mindset would be good too, sorry. And it worked, you know, like, I put no drinking on my habit tracker, and, like, I got to color in that square every day, and I did yoga every morning, and I was drinking water, and I just felt really good. And then around 40 days sober, it was in October, I went to Colorado, and I went hiking for the first time in my life in actual, like, a canyon, like Red Rock Canyon I went hiking at. And I got the Pikes Peak mountain range tattooed on my foot because it was, like, right near there, and it was very symbolic to me. And I started feeling really good, and the whole reason I started doing this was for a revenge body, but it slowly turned into a lifestyle, and it wasn't just a no drinking lifestyle, it was a loving myself lifestyle. For the first time, my worth came from me, and I was feeling good in my own skin and without alcohol, and I used alcohol as a crutch for so long without realizing it that, like, I thought alcohol was getting rid of my anxiety, but then when I quit drinking, I was like, what's anxiety? So Halloween came and Halloween passed, and I decided I still didn't want to drink, and I still wanted to keep up my healthy lifestyle, and I still wanted, like, I stopped wanting a revenge body and basically started wanting a revenge life. Because at this point I knew my ex was still doing the same thing, and I kind of wanted to get back at him with my new life, which I'm doing. Anyways, so I signed up for pole dancing, and I've been doing pole dancing since November, and so my pole anniversary is coming up. And I've always wanted to do that, but I've never had the confidence to do it. And then I started going to the studio, and I love it, and I keep going, and it's just awesome to see my progress. So then New Year's Eve came, and I decided I never brought in a New Year's Eve sober. From the time I was 15 to the time I was 24. Yeah. I never brought a New Year's in sober, so I wanted my 24-year-old New Year's to be sober. And people would try to get me to drink or whatever, and I was like, no, you know, like, I don't want to. I don't want that. And I didn't do it, and it was great. And, like, waking up the next day and everybody else was hungover, and I was just like, let's go do some yoga, you know? And I just felt good, and I still wanted to feel good. And I knew that I didn't feel good when I was drinking. So then, never experiencing a New Year's sober turned into never having a birthday sober. I realized who I am, truly, when I gave up alcohol. And I realized that alcohol was robbing me and denying me of who I really am and the actual potential I have. And, you know, I thank God that He put those situations in my life at that time, because I don't think I would have gotten sober if those things didn't happen all at once, to be honest. And I don't think it would have been as much of a lifestyle change if I didn't have the support behind me that I had. Like, my best friend, who was also checking in with me, and I was checking in with her, and, like, I would like text my friends like, I'm 9 days sober today, and they'd be like, good job, Jenny, like da da da, and like I just felt so good, and I had such great support, and I'm so happy about it. I realized that I was willing to give up all my goals and my dreams for somebody who didn't even like really love me the way I deserved to be loved. And then it made me think, like, what can you do now that you love yourself and you're sober and there's nothing really holding you back, you know? It's crazy to think about. Like, I don't know how to put it, because it blows my mind that I was so close to just throwing away my life. Like, now I want to live the best life possible, you know? Like, I don't want to just settle. I was going to settle, that's what it is. I was going to settle. And I don't want to settle ever. So, I gave up alcohol to have a revenge body, which turned into a revenge lifestyle that I wouldn't give up for the world. I mean, I quit smoking, I quit drinking, I lost almost 60 pounds. I'm living the best life I can live right now. And I hope my story helps you or inspires you in a way. So watch out for my video on September 4th, Monday. It's a pretty exciting one. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.